All right. Well, hey, everybody. Excited to be here. I'm Einar. I'm one of the partners at CoinFund. I've been thinking long and hard about decentralized and on-chain AI for the last couple of years. So excited to talk to you today about how to own your AI. Essentially, before we get into it, I have a couple of things I have to say. So this presentation is for informational purposes only. This presentation does not constitute financial or investment advice, and this presentation is based on public information. I'm sorry, that's part of being a registered investment advisor. Now, that out of the way, you need to own your AI. Let's start there. I know we're going to get into it today, but I really want to be upfront that you really need to own your AI. Maybe not all of the time, but at least some of the time, and preferably probably most of the time. Now, why is that? I think for people in this room, it's probably obvious, but I think it's good to table set and just remind ourselves kind of why this is important. Here is a non-exhaustive list of reasons of why you want to make sure that you own your AI. I think at the top of the list is you want to have access to use AI. Getting blocked from using AI in the future is a real risk and probably going to be as bad or worse as getting debanked. Secondly, you want to have access to training. You want to be able to train the models in a true open source fashion. This is going to democratize access, speed up innovation. Very important. Thirdly, censorship resistance. We know there are a lot of decentralized entities working on censorship of AI models. You want to align incentives. Now, there are many ways of aligning incentives, but the easiest and simplest way of aligning an incentive is to own the agent that is acting on your behalf. You want to have privacy. We're sharing sensitive data with these systems like we've never shared before, including healthcare information, financial information, and anything else. You want to have verifiability. You want to be able to prove who you are to other participants in your AI system, and you want to be able to prove who others are that you're interacting with in the AI ecosystem. And lastly, kind of a catch-all category, you want to avoid bait and switch. You want to get what you pay for in terms of the model. You want to avoid nerfing models. You want to avoid data poisoning. So all good reasons to own your own AI. Now, with that out of the way, let's get to how to own your AI. And I think the way we think about AI at CoinFund is in a matter of stack. So this is kind of the most simplified, highest level stack you can come up with in AI, I think. At the bottom, you have infrastructure and base models. This constitutes research, data, compute, training, inference. On the top of that, or to the side of it, however you want to define it, services and standards, including agentic commerce, frameworks, tooling, MCP, multi-agent coordination, and so forth. And lastly, on top, you got agents and applications, right? So how do you actually interact with it? We're talking finance applications, companions, entertainment, and services, and so forth. So we'll go through each of those layers today to see how you can own your AI. I think in order to, before we do that though, just wanted to highlight kind of the difference between decentralized AI and on-chain AI. Where a decentralized AI we think of as a general network that inherits sort of some of the decentralized properties or crypto properties. This is typically at the bottom stack of the layer, training, compute, data, and so forth, which allows you to use AI on-chain, right? Interact with smart contracts, use agents, use apps, and so forth. But decentralized AI does not necessarily need to be on-chain or have tokens with it. It can, it lends itself well to it, but it doesn't have to. So just an important distinction there. And so starting with decentralized AI and the bottom stack of the layer, I want to talk a little bit about infrastructure and base models. And I think for me, by far the most exciting thing that's happening there right now is decentralized training. We could probably do a full talk on that alone. As a matter of fact, we actually just had a full talk about that alone by my partner Jake, which you should go check out at a different time. But I want to give you guys sort of the 2-slide summary of where we are on decentralized training and why it matters. So basically, decentralized training for models is a way to train AI models on a decentralized network of compute, preferably on lower grade or commodity hardware. This works through a couple of different mechanisms. We call it sharding data, or data parallelism, and breaking up transformer models, which is called model parallelism. And then basically you have an algorithm that compresses the data and reduces the number of times the nodes need to communicate for the training. And this allows you to do decentralized training. This matters for a number of different reasons. A, it democratizes access to model training. You don't need to be inside a big tech anymore to train a big model. Two, it creates true open source in the sense that you can move from openness of weights, which is sort of what we've had with Llama and Facebook, where Zuckerberg will give you the weights, but he won't really tell you how he got to the weights, to openness of setup or openness of access, where you can actually access these models in a decentralized network. And then this, again, will open up for new business models, new ways to monetize the models, right? So you monetize them at the point of inference, and then it's tokenized and transferable, and new ways of raising money for model training and for GPU and compute. So where are we in decentralized training today? I will say there are 4 kind of major companies that are kind of innovating right now. It's Jensen, which is in testnet, News with Hermes 4, Prime Intellect, and Pluralis. Now, the takeaway from this slide is really that 1.5 years ago, people did not think that decentralized trading was possible, nor did they really give it time of day or care. Now, it is possible. People have done the first decentralized training runs on 10 billion parameter models, 32 billion parameter models, and so forth. So we've gone from 0 to 1, and now it's a matter of going from 1 to 100 and scaling this. And as you can see, we're getting papers into NeurIPS and ICML and like the real heavyweight conferences. So this is happening. Moving on from infrastructure and base models, taking a look at services. How and why do services matter for OpenAI, and how can you make sure that you own them? Basically, there's 2 big components to this. It's to make sure that you have open standards that are interoperable, that you can all work on together. These are topics that are going to be thoroughly discussed today, including ERC 8004, X402, A2A, and MCP. And the other important part is to have a thriving services and marketplaces and frameworks that you can use and make sure that there's an ecosystem of a lot of players there, including our hosts here and a number of you who are in the room today. Diving deeper into 2 of these, I want to talk a little bit about ERC 8004. Essentially, it's a discovery layer for agents with an on-chain registry, creating agent cards for ID. It's fairly recent, they're on their 3rd community call, but as you can see, they kind of launched it about a month ago and have 1.8 thousand agents registered already. So while this is still like in month 1, like we're seeing growth and interest, and there are wonderful people that are doing some great work behind this. Similarly, with agentic commerce, most people think about X402 when we talk about agentic commerce. Agentic commerce as a whole is just about allowing agents and AI to do economic transactions, so pay for goods and services, both to each other and to external third parties. X402 was built by Coinbase and Cloudflare. It's an open protocol for payments, and it is very, very important because without a way of paying, the AI systems become very insular and not really able to interact with the real world. Again, we're super early here. There's 4 servers that have had more than $1 million of volume over the last 30 days, which is basically nothing. But importantly, it's there. It's gone from 0 to 1. It's live. You can go play with it. You can use it today. Lastly, moving on from services and frameworks into agents and applications, kind of the, maybe the most exciting piece, depending on who you are and who you ask. I want to focus on 2 different areas that we see that are very, very important and kind of lenses of wealth to the on-chain economy. So the first one would be companions and context. So a base model needs your personal context. Without it, it's not very helpful to you. So it needs to know who you are, where you live, all your details. And if it doesn't have that, it can't give you the recommendations that you need. But obviously, that is super sensitive data, and that is currently siloed in centralized players. So the idea is for you need to be able to own this, to transport it from different models to different models, and you need it to be able to work for you in terms of privacy rather than it work for OpenAI or somebody else in terms of advertising, right? So it's still very, very early days here, but we see companies like Kindred with 400,000 monthly active wallets on chain, and companies like Nectar and MyShell doing millions of on-chain companions as well today. And then we've got the other category, one that's near and dear to my heart and a lot of people here, which is stablecoin yield optimization and DeFi in general. Basically agents that optimize the yield on your stablecoin across chain and across opportunities. It's usually self-custodial, it's verifiable. You get your own, at least for serious providers, you get your own individual agent that you control and that you can set the parameters for. And we've seen growth here over the last 3-4 months from basically $0 to 150 million or more in AUM. Granted, this is still rookie numbers compared to like asset management out there, but it's here, it's starting, it's growing. So very exciting in terms of what's going on there. Now to wrap this up, I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of thoughts about what could potentially be the next thing, what is exciting, where do we look? And I'm sure a lot of you have seen this slide by now. This is basically a list of all the companies that have used more than 1 trillion tokens at OpenAI. It was released at their dev day earlier this year. And so if we take these companies and we kind of bucket them and try to think a little bit about where do the primitives that we care about and that on-chain AI work for make sense, we sort of come up with this little landscape. It's e-commerce and customer service. You want to have transferability across players. You want to have payments. You want to have the ability to opt in or out of marketing and so forth. You got infrastructure. Decentralized and open infrastructure is key. As you know, like I don't think I need to explain to you guys the importance there. Then we have 3 or 4 other categories that are also super exciting to us, which includes healthcare, end-to-end based models with full privacy, bridging data across silos. We've got finance, accounting, and legal. I think anything that has to do with a ledger and that has to do with law lends itself very well to crypto and to code. And then lastly, we got knowledge, which is around censorship and the ability to influence sort of what knowledge is presented to you. This is by no means an exhaustive list. It's just like kind of a suggestion of where the space might be moving. So if you are building in any of these categories or any other categories in on-chain or decentralized AI, please find me or please reach out on Twitter. Let's keep the conversation going. And yeah, thank you very much for listening.